first thing she said to me was, "Why do their faces look like they're melting?" We were standing at the edge of the tree line, the quiet hush of pines behind us, and the electric buzz of the city sprawling out ahead. I remember her nose twitching, like she could smell something rotten that I couldn't. I thought it was nerves. I didn't understand, not then, what she was seeing, what she was sensing. I thought she was being dramatic, until I saw them up close. The faces. The district gates loomed ahead like the ribs of some extinct beast, metal struts arching and twitching as they scanned new entries. She hesitated, her hand wrapped tight around my wrist. I felt the tremble there, almost imperceptible. Inside, everything gleamed. Neon bled down the sides of buildings like liquid candy. The air barely moved, climate-controlled silence, and the people, they glided, not walked, glided. Their bodies were too symmetrical, too poised, and their faces, she wasn't wrong. The enhancements had come fast after the biomodification laws changed. At first, it was small things. Skin smoothing, jawline reformation, eye whitening. Then brows were replaced with synthetic filaments. Cheekbones restructured with memory foam implants that adapted to lighting. Noses, mouths, eyelids, all digital, all customizable. Children were signed at birth to cosmetic programs. Faces were leased, not born with. And by 15, everyone looked perfect, identical, emotionless. Except her. Her name was Wren. Raised in the southern forest sectors, off-grid and untouched, Wren had never had even a dental scan. No ID chip, no genetic logging. Her parents were ex-engineers who went rogue during the first wave of facial standardization, convinced the enhancements were a kind of soft extinction. They'd raised her with stories whispered around campfires, warning her of a coming sameness, how the world would forget what a real face looked like. She didn't know what a mirror was until she was 10. She was 17 when she stepped into the city for the first time, and every staring glass-blank face turned toward her. They didn't blink, not with real eyelids anyway. I was part of the integration program. My job was to transition off-gridders into society, teach them how to blend, how to assimilate. We were told they'd be resistant. They always were. But eventually, the yearning to belong would kick in. It always did. But not with Wren. 3 weeks in, she still hadn't smiled. Not once. We gave her the standard synthetic housing unit, identical to all others. White walls, no windows. Ambient lighting optimized to minimize independent thought. She hated it instantly. At night, she'd scratch tiny symbols into the walls with a spoon. I didn't know what they meant, but they reminded me of old circuitry diagrams or tree roots. The first incident happened on day 21. She said someone was tapping on her wall at night. Not inside the apartment, she clarified, eyes wide. Behind it, hollow. I dismissed it as stress. Some off-gridders experienced hallucinations during their first month. The city had a way of warping perception. Neon reflections, the constant hum of surveillance drones, the scentless air. But something about the way she said it haunted me. Behind it, hollow. I requested a unit inspection. They found nothing. Still, she moved through the city like a haunted thing. She tried to blend. She wore the clothes, recited the pledge, practiced her synthetic expression set, neutral, warm, enticing. But she'd break character constantly. Her lips would twitch into a real smile. Her eyes would crease with actual feeling. She'd laugh when no one else did. People noticed. They didn't react with disdain or anger. They stared, and stared and never looked away. Wren said they were trying to map her face, that the system was watching her through their eyes. We weren't supposed to talk about the facial cloud. It was a rumor mostly, a quiet theory among older technicians, that the enhancements weren't just cosmetic, that people weren't choosing their faces anymore. The faces were choosing them, or something was. A centralized intelligence trained on centuries of data, slowly eliminating variance, syncing expressions citywide. A hive of features, perfect symmetry across all citizens. Anyone outside that pattern. Didn't last long. I never believed it. Until Wren. She refused to get her facial evaluation. It was supposed to happen in week 2. A baseline scan that would gently suggest improvement protocols. Most people welcomed it. But she said she wouldn't sit in the chair. Said she'd seen what happened to others who did. They come out like wax, she whispered. Their eyes go flat. I tried to convince her. Told her she was imagining things. That's when she showed me the photographs. She'd been watching, documenting, faces. Same woman at the bakery. Same man on 2 separate trains. Different clothes. Same face. Not similar. Identical. Down to the mole on the cheek. The scar above the lip. Different IDs, different names. Same face. And over time, she said, her neighbors changed. Not physically, but subtly. They began to mimic each other. Say the same phrases. Pause the same way in conversation. Tilt their heads at the exact same angle when confused. She started recording it, looping the footage, showing how their expressions aligned like synchronized swimmers. I think they're being overwritten, she said, bit by bit. Something cracked in me then, some part that had been quietly doubting for years. I asked her what she wanted to do. She said she wanted to go back, into the woods. Before we could make a plan, she vanished. Her unit was spotless, no scratches, no signs of struggle, just empty. I filed a missing person report. 3 days later, I saw her on a billboard, advertising a new facial template. The name was different. So was the hair. But it was her face. Perfected. I broke protocol and went to the design center. Said I wanted that face. The technician smiled without showing any real emotion. Said it wasn't possible. That particular template was off-market, custom, proprietary. I asked who it belonged to. He paused. A flicker of something, uncertainty, fear, crossed his synthetic features. I don't know, he said. I don't think it has a name. I started digging, and something started following me. At first, it was small things. My tablet wouldn't unlock with my face. My ID chip glitched. At night, I'd hear footsteps outside my apartment, soft and deliberate, but the cameras showed nothing. Then came the dreams. I'd wake up gasping, convinced someone had touched my face while I slept. I'd look in the mirror and feel like something was off. My features didn't quite respond right. My smile lagged. My eyes didn't reflect the light the way they used to. One morning, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself at all. I tried to run diagnostics. All data was gone. My original face file deleted. My ID chip claimed I had always looked this way. I wasn't even sure if I was me anymore. Then I heard it, tapping, behind the wall, just once, then silence, until the next night. 2 taps, then 3, every night, 1 more. I remembered Wren's words. Behind it, hollow. I smashed the wall open, and there, in the space between the walls, were faces. Not people, just faces, stacked, preserved in some sort of viscous gel, like masks, still fluttering with residual nerve twitches. Eyes open, unmoving, all of them unique, imperfect, real, discarded, stored like artifacts. I ran. I left the city that night, back into the woods, back to where no one's watching, where the trees still twist in their own way and the wind doesn't whisper your name. I think about Wren often, or what became of her. And sometimes, when the woods are still and the moon reflects off the creek just right, I see a flicker of her face in the water, but it shifts, just a little, like someone trying to remember how to smile.